Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome back to another video. First off, I want to apologize for the lack of recent uploads. I believe I said on some of my social medias and maybe here on YouTube as well that for the first half of December and pretty much all of November, I was going to be super busy. So yeah, that's why I have not been able to upload very much, and most likely for the next week and a half to 2.5 weeks I won't be able to upload, so I do apologize for that. But I had a quick amount of time today to make a video, and there hasn't been much in terms of Asphalt, although the new developer chat on Discord is happening, I believe, on December 4th, and of course when I get the time I will cover all of that. I believe it has something to do with the Grand Prix, so there's definitely going to be a lot of interesting things about that. So again, I'll cover that when I can, and I'll bring the news to you guys soon. But until then, today I have a bit of a different video. A couple of days ago, I actually managed to go out and get the new iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's been 3 years since I got a new phone, which back then was the iPhone 8 Plus. And I am super duper excited. You know, being 3 years behind feels not the greatest, but it never really impacted me too much except for 30 FPS on Asphalt. So I was expecting a huge upgrade, and so far it does seem really awesome. However, there are some things I want to talk about, but this is a first impressions video. I don't think I'm going to do a full review or anything like that, but I thought since this is a pretty expensive phone and maybe some people are in the market for it and maybe want to know some thoughts and stuff like that from different people and some opinions, and I thought maybe I could help people out and just overall talk about this phone because, you know, it's the cool new thing. So first, let's talk about video and photo. So of course there are, you know, new fancy features like Dolby Vision HDR and like all that different stuff. But talking about what my experience is so far, the video and stabilization feel absolutely amazing compared to a 3-year-old iPhone, which is no surprise, but the amount of upgrade there is just amazing in my opinion. I wasn't expecting too much because phone cameras are a very limited thing. I mean, there's just so much space you can put you know, a camera and a phone in, and I wasn't expecting this big of an upgrade, but especially in low light performance, it was definitely amazing. As you can see this awesome shot with my scale model Mach 6. I did lower the exposure so I couldn't get, or so I didn't get, you know, super blown out highlights, but you know, you get to play around with it, and there is an update coming which will include a new file format called Apple Pro RAW, so I'm looking forward to mess around with that. So talking about photos, overall the photo quality is better in low light as well. However, there does seem to be a big issue with the photos for this camera. I've been seeing a lot of white balance issues, and after you take a photo and when it processes, it applies a huge amount of sharpening to the photo, which you can see here in this photo, and it just makes the image look super unnatural and very, very harsh. And once you go in and adjust it, it does get a bit better, but I'm really confused by this. Hopefully some sort of software update fixes this, and obviously Apple Pro RAW will probably allow you to fix this on your own, but it's still super weird. Sometimes photos on my iPhone 8 look much better than the 12 because the 12 just like overdoes the sharpening a lot and makes it look very, very harsh. Now talking about looks, let's talk about the screen, and there's no surprises here. It's much better than the 8 Plus. It's huge. It's 6.7 inches. It's very, very bright. It's an OLED display, which obviously is a massive upgrade over, I think, the LCD in the 8 Plus, and the resolution is a big jump as well. And yeah, it gets bright. It has a high resolution, and so there's not really much to complain about there. Now talking about new technologies and stuff like that, my 8 Plus was the last like Plus phone with Touch ID. I think the new SE has, yeah, it does have Touch ID, so it's not the last phone with Touch ID, but this phone has Face ID, which is really cool, seeing your phone unlock itself just from your face and knowing that it is actually a secure thing and not just scanning a picture of your face and trying to match up like some other phones claim to do. So it feels secure and it's really nice, and especially it works in low light, which is really awesome. But obviously we're going through a pandemic right now. You got to wear masks outside, and so it is very, very frustrating when you're out and about and you want to send a quick text or something like that, or you need to unlock your phone. You have to put in your passcode. I have a pretty long passcode because it just makes me feel safer, and yeah, it's very annoying to have to do that instead of just having like Touch ID in the power button, which would have been really awesome. Now speaking of the buttons, I know this is a bit of a weird complaint, but they are placed way further down on the side of the phone than something like the iPhone 8 Plus, and it feels very uncomfortable. I know I should probably say that it's just a thing where I have to get used to, but I feel like this change wasn't very necessary. I always find myself turning the volume up instead of down because that's where I think the volume down button is, and it is about where it is on the iPhone 8 Plus. So I don't know if this is just a me thing, but the iPhone 8 and the iPhone, or the 8 Plus and the 12 Pro Max, they are not that much of a size difference between them. Obviously the screen is much larger, which makes it feel much larger, but in terms of the physical nature of the phone, they aren't that massively different. But again, it does feel bigger because of the squared off edges and the bigger screen. Now, quickly going back to the screen, yes, the notch is annoying, and I know I'm super late to the party on this one, about 3 years too late, but it's worth considering the screen size that you get. It is kind of annoying in games and stuff like that, and watching videos and TV and movies that are scaled to the aspect ratio that this phone has. That notch is annoying, but when you're holding your phone and you have your thumbs on your phone, honestly, like sometimes my thumb blocks out the notch anyway. That's where I rest my thumb, and it's nice that it's there. I know it's a really weird thing, but I've been getting used to it, and it's not been that big of a deal. And yeah, so last up, I want to talk about performance, because that is what this phone means the most to me. Wow, that was a weird sentence, but yeah, performance is what I was really looking for. Obviously, being limited to 30 FPS in Asphalt 9 was a big downgrade, or not downgrade, but just a huge hit for me especially. And just in general, running a 3-year-old phone, even though it is an iPhone, so it's pretty powerful, and it held up really well. I do want to say that first off. The iPhone 8, again, is a 3-year-old phone, but it does hold up very well, even for today's standards. But anyway, talking about the 12 Pro Max, which has the new A14 chip, really my performance was based off games, and I do want to say this: most of the games that I've played have not been updated specifically to work and optimize for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So that is a factor, and again, these are impressions, these aren't like full review or anything like that, but I tried a bunch of different games. First off, I tried some shooters, and with Call of Duty, it runs really great on the highest settings. I played it at 60 FPS at the highest settings, at least from what I could tell. Sometimes in those games, there was like hidden settings, but I couldn't see anything like that, so hopefully I was running it at the highest at 60 FPS, but it felt pretty good and pretty smooth, and I cranked up the FOV as well, and that was fine. However, like I said, some of the games haven't been updated, but those games that haven't been updated run really, really bad. So in terms of shooters, I played Modern Combat Versus, which surprisingly is still getting some updates and events and things like that. Yeah, that ran terribly, along with Asphalt 8. They both refused to run at 60 FPS, even though I had the 60 FPS option specifically in Modern Combat Versus on. That 60 FPS option isn't even available in Asphalt 8, which is really weird. But both of them have very, very bad frame stuttering, which is super disappointed to see. I figured the raw power of the A14 would overcome that anyway, or it's just down to the optimization being really bad, or something like that. I don't know what's up with it, but it's just not very good. Now, in terms of Asphalt 9, which is what I know you guys would like to see, it did have the 60 FPS mode for me, but it clearly hasn't been updated and optimized yet, which is understandable. I mean, this phone is really new, but there were consistent frame drops, but at least I did get 60 FPS, which is nice to see. So overall, for an $1,100 phone, which is ridiculous how expensive phones have gone, by the way. I mean, they've increased in price so much over the last couple of years. But for an $1,100 phone, the big standout to me was definitely the video quality. It was super good, especially with those 3 lenses. You have a lot of options, and hopefully with the upcoming Apple Pro RAW file format, the photos can get a lot better. I am disappointed with how much sharpening there was in that. But yeah, if you have one of the new iPhones, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys later.